This is Alec Murdaugh. I need police and an ambulance immediately.
Jason, good to see you again. You're not sick of me yet?
No, you keep dressing differently.
I do. It's getting a little colder, so the sleeves will come out soon enough. But House of Dynamite first, Last Frontier second, and now you're terrifying in this story. And you're also unrecognizable in this role.
Yeah.
Can you speak to the value of getting lost in a character when the man that looks back at you in the mirror looks nothing like the Jason Clarke we know?
Look, there's something incredibly wonderful about that. One of my favorite actors growing up was Gary Oldman. And I always loved that I could never see the stitches, never see the work put in. He just was, you know? And so it is incredibly freeing. It's incredibly hard work putting on 40 pounds. It hurts, you know, putting it on and taking it off. But, you know, you become somebody else. And that's what I love about this business. It adds to a level of fantasy and a level of play and a level of time travel, I guess, that drew me to it in a way.
It's pretty chilling. I mean, there are times in the middle of a scene I'd look at him like, he looks exactly like him.
You see me checking
Sounds
you out.
exactly like him. Like, ooh, you know? But also, he, like, as soon as we started rehearsal, like, it's not just the way he looks. He's charming, he's hiding, he's daddying, he's crybabying, he's fixing things, he's buying things, he's driving.
I love
constantly.
being a crybaby to you.
I know.
I love coming and getting a little bit. She's just like, she really is. She'd come with something, and she's gonna come back. The bathroom scene with the things where you up me, and then the other scene with put on the tie and I've had a bad day. I really love working with Patricia. I really did.
And I loved working
There was
with
just
him. He's
there's something
amazing.
that, you know, that takes you back to your theatre days. There's our play as well as what's being shot, and you get reward out of that. You know, it sets you free.
Patricia, this is one of my favorite performances of yours, specifically because what you do without dialogue. There's so much internalization in your performance as Maggie. I'm curious what that looks like on the page. Are there directions you're given on how to emote like that when it's all in your head, or are you just taking that in your own direction?
Well, I was pretty fascinated by the case and watching him lie, and then knowing that, you know, most American women are murdered by their intimate partners. And knowing some of the dynamics of even just one part of this dysfunction, alcoholism or addiction, there's a codependence, there's addiction. So breaking that down, I wanted to honor women who slowly start realizing they've normalized a lot of dysfunction, they're being charmed to death by a pathological liar, and you start realizing, I don't really know who I'm with. I really don't know what you're capable of. I really don't know what our life is. But she was a support system. I'm the wife, I'm the mom. I'm here to be supportive. Only towards the end did she start breaking away and going, who am I outside of this?
It's a fascinating trajectory. I'll wrap with this quickly. Can I ask you a Severance question?
You can try.
I'll do my best.
Cold!
Nothing about the plot, of course, but no Ben Stiller back in the director's chair for season 3. With where you're at in pre-production, does anything feel different at all?
Well, I'm not thrilled with that, I'm gonna say.
He's a
I'm
busy
not happy
man.
about it.
He's doing a World War II movie, I think.
I know, but you know what? I don't appreciate this. I'm not down. Boo! Stiller!
We'll get him back for season 4.
I'm gonna get him back for
Say it
season
like
3.
it is, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, enough, man.
No way, Jose.
Promises are promises.
That's right.
But scripts still look good?
I'm not telling you anything about it.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, buddy?
Fair, lips sealed. When I first got this email, I hadn't done my research yet, and I was like, Brittany and Mandy, but Mandy's Brittany's character, how is this gonna work? And then I did my research, and of course, Mandy, this was your podcast before it turned into a series. So talk to me about that call you got from Hulu when it was first being conceptualized as this would go from audio to a fictionalized version.
I still can't believe it, and this is a long time in the making. I met Michael D. Fuller and Erin Lee Carr, the co-creators of the show, back in 2021, and was just blown away by their ability to approach the story from a victim-focused way, and I really connected with them and was able to trust them. They were the first people I met that wanted to do something with the story that I didn't get the ick from, I'll be honest. Like, a lot of, like, people were icky about it, and Erin and Michael were so genuine and kind and approached it in a good way. And then But again, like back then, it was like there's like a 1% chance of this going through. Like, we're gonna try whatever, and then finally we got greenlit last year. Is that the technical term for like when? Yeah. Learning all these Hollywood things, and but just I couldn't believe it. Greenlit with Patricia Arquette starring. That was a huge. Every like time that we made it through another hoop, I was like, no way. Oh my gosh. And then when I found out Brittany was playing me, I didn't think I was a character for a long time, and I thought it was going to be like a composite. I thought they were going to make me and Liz a composite character, and I never like would have like, can you have someone amazing and super good looking and awesome play me? And I want to be dream come true that Brittany wanted to do this, and I'm just jaw on the floor, can't believe it still to this day.
Yeah, Brittany, when it comes to getting in character, how many hours of the podcast did you log? And beyond that, did you guys get to get lunch beforehand? Like, how did you get into the mannerisms?
There was a lot going into it. I had already listened to the podcast. I was familiar with Mandy. I was familiar with the podcast. And that was, years before. But then when I was already familiar with the story, but once I got the call that I was going to be playing Mandy, I mean, I am not kidding. I would listen to her podcast and her voice every morning getting ready. I would listen to it on the way to work. I would listen to it after work. Her voice was in my head, and I felt like I knew the podcast so well at that point that I felt like I didn't even have to try to sound like her or be her. I just was like inundating myself of Mandy. And so then we got to hang out, we got lunch, we got drinks, we got to hang out for a whole day. And it was so much fun because never do you get to play a character that's on set and around and is also a blast to hang out with. So it was really a dream.
Yeah, a character that's also a producer too. It was really cool to see you were involved behind the scenes as well. I only have 1 minute left, so I'll wrap with this, and I have no real segue for this last question.
Okay.
I just promised my colleague Graham that I would ask you about Hunting Wives Season 2. He's obsessed with the show. Do you have any production updates on what we can expect?
We start in a couple weeks, in the beginning of November. So it's definitely happening, and I've heard some whisperings of what the show is going to be about this season, and it somehow it's crazier
Amazing.
than last year.
Oh wow.
Okay, he's gonna be thrilled to hear that. Thank you guys again for your time.
Thank you.
You guys play the sons of this very tricky family to navigate, Buster and Paul. I want to know for you both if you can each give some insight into who these two characters are, but specifically which parents they gravitate towards, because I feel like, at least in my life with my friends, there's always a difference between who's the mother's boy and who's the father's son. So if you could give some insight into Paul and Buster there.
Yeah. I think it probably lands on Buster being a little bit more of the mama's boy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What would you say for Paul?
I don't know. I mean,
Because
I think
it's Paul's the
Paul's the
for me on
youngest in the
Paul.
Murdaugh family, and that's like, I mean, that alone holds so much pressure.
Yeah.
I feel like there's bits of each, I think, but
think
also
so.
he's trying to rebel against the whole idea, at least our version. But I think he definitely he wants that attention from his dad that he's giving Buster.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
I think Buster maybe in the series gets more direct approval from his mom, but because of that is really fighting for approval from the dad. And there's always, it's a very traditional family, so it feels like approval from dad is
Right, it's so tricky. It's like
top marks maybe.
Yeah, he's the patriarch, and getting that approval does mean a lot.
Yeah.
Johnny, I wanted to talk to you about the unique storytelling method of this series, because having Mandy involved, obviously this is a true story, but a lot of the story of what you're presenting here comes inspired from the podcast. And I recognize you from the TikTok world. I've seen so many of your characters brought to life in short form content like that. And this is a serious question when I ask this. Having a podcast transformed into a series like this makes me think of all the unique ways characters evolve like that. Do you think there's a world where things that originate on TikTok and these short form sketches can eventually blossom into longer form series or feature films?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of people who are on TikTok who are making podcasts there's so much talent there, and I think all of their creations come from a kernel of some kind of thing that they would love to, build into something bigger. And listening to the podcast for Murdaugh and then seeing how it transformed into this 8-part series has been so wild. Even just like me as an actor having fun on TikTok and then being able to like do a project like this is such an immense privilege. And I'm like, that jump is so wild, but it's definitely, it's exciting to watch.
Yeah, it's always cool to see where things originate. I'll wrap with this, Will. I loved A Complete Unknown last year, one of my favorite films of the calendar.
That's awesome.
I was reading that Timothy was training for Marty Supreme for like years and playing ping pong any chance he could get. Did you guys ever have a match on the set of Complete Unknown?
We never, they never bled into each other. He was, I guess, probably very rigid about, staying in the Dylan world and maybe checking in on the Marty Supreme world in the downtime, which I'm sure there was actually next to zero of for him on that film because he was working crazy hard. But no, and so we still have a ping pong match on the books that we got to get to.
It's pretty good.
I want to be there.
Yeah.
I want to be on the sidelines.
To be good, he's gonna crush me. Absolutely.
He got real good. I saw Supreme at New York Film Festival. And I was
that's
blown
awesome.
away. I was like, "There's no way that's CGI with the ping pong balls." Anyways, guys, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
The
you.
series is—it's weird to say a joy because it's terrifying, but you guys did your job well.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
For those familiar with this story, it's been told in so many different mediums. Obviously, the podcast was part of the inspiration for this series, but we also had the documentary last year, a couple years ago, in recent memory.
Yeah.
Either way, what does your version of this story add to the story that already exists?
I think I'm actually Erin, coming from documentary filmmaking, I think has articulated the best, and so you should speak to what that is, and I can fill in some of the other.
It was pointed out to me that in the Murdaugh Wikipedia page, which has been visited hundreds of thousands of times, Maggie Murdaugh has one line in it. One line. Everybody else has their own link, their own everything. And so when we talked about doing this, we said, what about the lives of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh that happened before they were killed on that fateful day in June 2021? And so there is this story has been covered, but it's really about what happened inside that house. And that is a place, although I'm a very proud documentary filmmaker, cameras were not able to get into. How on earth did these things converge that happened in a family annihilation plot? And so we felt so motivated and humbled to tell the story of the circumstances that got there, and all its depravity, but also humanity.
Yeah, and I think that, Erin said it early on in the process, and it kind of helped articulate that it's the space between the people that we get to explore. And I think, then I also say, we have Jason Clarke and Patricia Arquette playing Alec and Maggie, which I would say, and just an incredible cast beyond the two of them. And I think it's really finding what, our interpretation of the emotional truth of the story is in a way that, so many times, and I say this sitting next to an incredibly talented and accomplished documentary filmmaker, but so many times those kind of can become just, here's the crime, the prism of here's the crime, here's the criminal perpetrator, here's the victim, and those are powerfully told, and those are all important things. But for us, it's okay. What's the human drama at the heart of this that isn't just through that prism?
Yeah.
I think was important.
You have a stellar cast, but captained by Jason and Patricia, both legendary actors in their own right. Who was involved in casting these two? Because for Jason, obviously he's a storied actor, but I've never seen him like this before. Patricia, obviously, bringing a haunting performance, but unlike anything she's done before.
Absolutely. Patricia, there's a built-in connection with Nick Antosca, who's our executive producer and was showrunner on The Act and is serving as our executive producer. They had worked together beautifully on that series, and that was Hulu and in our studio, UCP as well. And so there was a built-in relationship there already, and she obviously, is such a powerhouse of an actress. And I think the thing that's really interesting in this is that so many times she's playing in the act, she's playing the mother in the more kind of character-y role, which is an incredible performance. But here she's the woman who's at really kind of our touchstone for this story, and grounding it through her and her humanity was, I think, really interesting. And then Jason, it was kind of I'm born and raised South Carolina. These men, similar to, not like, I don't want to say like him, but that have that stature and that swagger. It's a very specific thing, and Jason's long been one of my favorite working actors in the game, and just think he's got so much incredible charisma and swagger. And I felt like he was kind of one-on-one for us. I think that it was like there's not too many people who can capture what Alec is, and as you said, that this person has a stature that's known, and he has a profile. This isn't just an actor. You can grab an actor and say, here's Alec Murdaugh. It's somebody who's got to embody that and be able to perform. And I thought, we were incredibly fortunate to get that pairing at the top of the ticket.
We just breathed a very deep sigh of relief when Patricia signed on. We're like, we might have a show, because like, what is it statistically? You have a 2% chance at a show actually getting made or something like that. Particularly for me, who's never created or worked on a television show previously, like in such a role. And so we just can't tell you how humbled we were that Patricia would sign on to do the show, because she is an Oscar-winning actress who brings every bit of feeling into the role. And in order to play someone that people thought that they didn't like and didn't know, we needed to have somebody like her.
Very much so. That's all the time I have.
Yeah.
I can talk to you guys about this series all day long.
Yeah. Likewise, man. And love you guys site. It's great. It's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Say that to the camera.
Yeah. Love you guys. Love Screen Rant.
Sometimes I feel like I'm living a life I never was supposed to live.